YouTube, what goes on with it, ya boys? It's your boy Angelito, and I'm back after like a 4 or 5 month hiatus of not showing my face, not doing anything with the YouTube channel. I finally finished the E30, and I know I say finally a lot, but I think we're pretty close. I think it's a sure shot now. Yes, the E30 is finally to its smallest version of itself, and this is kind of gonna be a good stopping-ish point where I'm at. Main reason being, I don't know how to fully drive the car just yet, given that I've only driven the car a handful of times. So I need to get to learn the car, and then I can start increasing power, start increasing fuel, start increasing everything else to the build. But this is a decent point where it's done-ish, and it'll be to a point where I'll be happy with it for a while until I decide to do more to it, such as adding E85, more boost, going with a big wing, and who knows what else I'll come up with. But yeah, this is a decent point where I can say that the E30 is done-ish. This is gonna be a little bit of a build breakdown, what I did to the car. I'm not sure if I'll go over costs. I'll lightly brush on it, but I don't think I'll total everything up. If you wanna total it up, that's perfectly fine. I want to say that most of this car is secondhand parts. It's parts that I've had to look for. It's parts that I traded for. So I try to keep the costs as low as possible because, you know, we're not rich. I'm no Adam LZ. I'm no Jimmy Oaks. I can't afford to just ball out and drop 30-40 grand on a cheap build. And this is pretty much sub $10,000 build. And it's been over time of working my 40-hour job, 50-60-hour weeks, and, you know, just earning them paychecks. It's realistic. It's, you know, what most of us do. Quick shout out to my sponsor, Denver Beer and Oil, DBO, that boy Chris. That's my homie. That's the guy who plugged up most of these parts for me, and, you know, shout out to that guy. I'll have a link to wherever it is that you can contact him if you need any BMW parts. Reach out to him. He's awesome. He's a cool person to talk to. You can just literally sit there and just talk BMW shit with the boy, and he's a fucking gold mine of BMW knowledge. So big shout out to my sponsor, Denver Beer and Oil, Chris. You're awesome. Thank you for hooking it up. Without further ado, let's get into the E30 build. Start off here. This BMW, or this E30, is a 1986, which means it is a pre-facelift car that I have converted into a post-facelift. So I'll start from the front and work my way back in regards to the build. Post-facelift bumper, valance, lights, everything that came with the post-facelift car era, I got from Chris for, I believe it was $200. And it looks a lot better, believe me. I love the look of the post facelift. I'm not a big fan of the diving boards on the pre-facelift era. Sitting behind the mighty grills of the E30 lives an eBay intercooler. Nothing fancy. I got this in eBay intercooler kit when they were like $150, $200 past tense. Now I know they're a lot more expensive, but it was a cheap build to begin with. It still is. So I want to say valance plus intercooler piping kit, probably around let's call it $350 so far. The obvious, the Snelly boy right here. This is going to be a max speeding rod. You can correct me if I'm wrong. GT3582, GT3580 maybe. Got that guy off of the Max Speeding Rods website for about $130 shipped, including tax, which was a good deal. It's what Chris recommended me to run, so I didn't really just say anything. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go get it then. And that was pretty much the end of that. So tack on another 135 bucks. I got this conversion from a 4-bolt to a 3-inch flange. That guy was, I believe, $65 on eBay, $55 on eBay. So again, just trying to keep the cost relatively low. This pipe I got made at a local exhaust shop. They refused to touch the car, but they said that if I wanted to get pipes bent and I could do it myself at home, that I could do that. So I just went ahead and did that. No food for you, silly goose. Leave. Shoo. I guess that's my pet squirrel. Goodbye. Inside of the fuel rail, I got Deca 60-pound injectors. Those came with the car, so I don't know what to price those guys at. There's a couple of parts that came with the car already from the first time that it was built, such as this eBay internal wastegate manifold. That guy was already living on the car when I first bought it, so I'm not going to add that, as well as a catch can and I believe a few other items that I won't be touching over. eBay external wastegate. As you can see, I have a bunch of overspray for my not so professional paint job. It is what it is though. That wastegate, it's an EM USA. It ran me about $65. Now, do I recommend an EM USA wastegate? Not really. It's already leaking. It has a boost leak coming from the diaphragm where the valve, the piston lives, and I don't like it. I did buy a tile which lives in the garage currently, but I'm kind of waiting on that just so I can get the money to retune and go heavier on the boost. But again, I'm going to keep it at the same power level for the time being. The vacuum leak or the boost leak isn't too substantial to where I'm like bogging out and I feel like I have a really rough idle. So it does fine. It does okay. Do I recommend it? No, definitely not. Go get yourself a quality wastegate off the bat. For eBay parts, I got an eBay blow-off valve. It's supposed to be a tile rip-off. Here I have a GM ethanol sensor connected all the way to the ECU. This stuff right here, this miscellaneous stuff for the sensors, including these connectors, did run me around $100 in total. I believe the sensor was like $20-$30 on eBay secondhand. Somebody had it in the bag but they never used it. The connector ran me probably like another 15, these guys another 20, and this AN6 braided line that's ready for E85. I want to say close to $100 in all that small stuff that I have right there. Another thing, if you are a E30 guy, you know that the 1986 did not come with an M20 B25. This was originally a ETA car. So the B25 swap was done when I first purchased the vehicle. I don't know what to price that at. You can find a B25 locally. The B25 that I currently have sitting in here does have ARP head studs. So that's a little nice insurance, making sure that the boost is going to be able to be held. The car was previously boosted before I owned it. So that's awesome because all I had to do is just basically thread the AN return lines and I had an oil return. So that's super fancy and awesome. So I have this upgraded booster. It fit perfectly in here from a different generation era German car. That's all I can say. And instead of bending and breaking lines and doing all the crazy stuff, I realized that E30 lines have the perfect thread pitch for the OEM hard lines that they have here up in the front. So what I did was I got these brake lines that are steel off of eBay, of course, and I just ran them over here to the master cylinder. And the master cylinder has these adapters that are, I believe it's M10 by 1 to a 12.5 1.5. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to check what it is, but all this stuff, the adapters were $25. The lines I already had. The booster, I got it free from the homie, from the sponsor again. So it was pretty cheap to do that. So I needed to run a bigger master and a heavier booster so I could get more braking force out of my calipers. With the obvious on the outside before I work my way to the calipers, these are XXR 9.75 wide by 17 wheels wrapped in a Nefera XN Sport R, I believe it is, which are 245/40 R17. These guys are really good. They're really grippy. They take probably like 2-3 runs before they really start gripping hard. But they're tires that I really do have confidence in. These Nefera Nexen tires, I got them for about $200 on Facebook Marketplace, and they were pretty solid. They only had a couple runs on them, and I didn't know which way I wanted to go with the setup. So I was just like, you know what, use will get the job done. And so got these secondhand, but they are good tires. The DOT date of birth is still new on them, so there really isn't any issue there. Plus, they have a lot of life left for $200, bang for buck. I am a happy camper. These guys are awesome. They are four piston calipers, and they just have so much more biting force. The thing is that if you're going to run a bigger brake, you're going to need a little bit more power to push down on those pistons, because the E30 ones are single piston, and they just, the master and the booster don't have enough force to go down. You can always run your Porsche 944 master and re-drill the holes and all that stuff. I didn't want to get into any of that. Seriously, I just wanted a bang for buck, easiest way of getting these calipers to bite down, and the cheapest way to go about the project. This rotor right here is going to be a Volkswagen, I believe it's G80 chassis Corrado rotor. These rotors are a 4x100 and they almost fit perfectly, minus the center bore right here. So the center bore of the Corrado rotors needs to be bored out to about a 66.1 so it can be able to surface properly or mate properly on the hub of the E30. That I did it by myself. But let's go here. Mazda RX-7 calipers, including the bracket, not excluding the hardware that I needed for it, was $100 on Facebook Marketplace. Plus, you need an adapter that's an inverted male to bubble flare. It fits perfectly with the steel braid lines that I have back there. I don't think you'll be able to see them anyways. But yeah, you have to get an adapter for the RX-7 calipers. It's a small seller on eBay. I definitely want to link them because those guys are awesome. The fact that they still make parts of this sort to keep our old project cars alive, like, that's awesome to me. So I'll definitely give them an attachment to the link, and you can, if you need any parts to run your RX-7 calipers on your E30, I would highly recommend you go to them. Volkswagen Corrado rotors. These rotors ran me about $125, I believe. It was like 60 bucks a pop. I did get them through eBay. So these Volkswagen Corrado rotors, 4x100, need to be drilled out here in the center to 66.1. Spend some time with the Dremel and try to be as accurate as possible. Do I recommend that you do it that way? Probably not. It's worked great up until this point. I have no complaints so far about them, and it's just an overall great project to do at home. Obviously, I have a wide body kit on it, and I haven't touched on that just yet, but I need to. So I can fit these almost 10-inch wide wheels. I did have to get some spacers, and yes, holy mother of spacer, that is 1.5 inch spacer that I bought off of eBay. Again, eBay has been like driving this project, and the unfortunate part is that when you put these on, it does have to be bored out. The problem is that the Corrado rotors sit a little bit further back, so it has kind of like a little lip that comes from the hub of the E30, and the spacers won't be able to sit flush and keep your rotor down all the way. So you need to either take them to a machine shop, get a Dremel, or do whatever you can and bore out the back end. It's probably less than 1 centimeter what you have to bore out, but you just bore out that section until it sits flush, and that's kind of how it's living. Easy project, really. Most of this stuff, if you're determined enough, you can get it done within a day or two. I don't think it's anything crazy that you really can't do with home tools and just a whole lot of effort. Do I know what BC coils these are? I actually do not. They came included with the car when I first purchased it. OPR 2000 seat, and this OMP plus the E30 mount I got from Chris for a whopping $50. I think it was $40. Here in the center lives a Power Dash digital screen. This guy came included with the car. The car already had a Mega Square MMP2. It had the Power Tune digital. It's about $750, I believe, for this guy. The Mega Square MMP2 Evo or whatever it is roughly in the $2,000 range. Steering, we have Energy steering wheel, Energy quick release, Energy hub. This came on the car as well. Now I'm going to show this, but oil feed and everything else that you would need to get oil to your turbo. Let's see if I can get it. Can you see there? Okay, cool. You can kind of see. So most of those parts are eBay. K&N oil filter to have clearance to the manifold, and I did the best that I could to find the right one, but it was just a lot of hit and miss. I had to run to the auto parts store a couple of times. So the thing that I really care about is that guy right there, where you see the oil pressure sensor sitting attached to that block right there, where that copper T comes off of, and you can see the oil pressure sensor up top. That guy I got off of Boost Monkey. The product is for an M50, and I just decided to pull the trigger on it, and I was like, hey, you know what, we'll see what happens. So it's an M50 oil pressure sensor adapter, whatever you want to call it. Just thread it off. I did need to use 2 copper washers, and that's pretty much the project. I hope you enjoyed looking at it. I hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble back and forth. Unfortunately, most of the things that were done to the car, I either did a couple of years ago, were done by the previous owner, or done by the previous owner. So the car recently got painted by yours truly. Terrible job, I might add, but it looks at least better. It's one color and I love it, man. I think it's super pretty. The thing I was going for on this build, I wanted to have a car that I could look back at and be like, this is what I built with my own two hands. Given that I've already built the red E30 with the SETA swap, and you know, I built this E30 and I did this and I did that, but it's never something that I have been truly like super proud of and stood and been like, oh my god, this thing is super awesome. And when I first got the car, yes, it was M20 B25 swapped, it was cammed, it was previously boosted, it was previously boosted, it had the Rocket Bunny kit on it, it had the BC coilovers and stuff, but the thing was that it was the other guy's baby. It was a thing that he built, he sold to me, and I took over. And I will say that egotistically, I took a little bit of a bite and I was like, this is his car, this is what he's known for, this is his build, and it wasn't me. Cool, it's an awesome car, but I own it. I didn't build it, I didn't do anything to it, and that was just what was biting me at the end of the day. And that's why I ended up tearing it apart and boosting it and leaving it primered and leaving it patina basically. The car was given back to me, and it was given to me Rocket Bunny, but now since I've owned it, I've boosted it, or partly boosted it, and finished the build. As far as the motor and the drivetrain goes, I've painted it, I've done more to it. So now this is my car. This is the thing that I've built, not from end to end, but I did the body work. Not the best, but I did it myself. I did RX-7 calipers. Not the best ones, but they're awesome, and I think it's just like an extra cherry on top for what it is. The wheels, the spacers, everything that I have done to the car up until this point, I love. It's my build. It's a thing that I did with my own two hands, and I am super proud of that. I love it. And if you can, finish your car, man. Do it for yourself. Fuck the internet clout. Fuck Instagram. Fuck what anybody thinks. And you know, if they're purist, fuck it, man. Get eBay. Do what you got to do to finish your car. Because I promise you, if I didn't tell you that majority of this car was eBay built, I traded, bartered, and basically got stuff off of Marketplace, you probably wouldn't know how cheap the build is. I do want to say that this build is sub $5,000. I think that's just a crazy thing that you can, underneath $5,000, or you can build something this cool. Concludes my rambling for today. I hope you enjoyed looking at the E30 and listening to me yap. I'll try to post another video about the things that I've learned building the E30 and having a project car of this caliber and this size, because I got the car not running or not wanting to run, super rusted out. That's my fault. Super like body damage. It's still really body damage, but we're not going to talk about that. And just an overall like complete project. This car has been about November, December, January, February, March, April, May, about 6 months. For 6 months, for half a year, I've been building this car. So shit takes a while, man. But at the end, how beautiful, bro. That shit is sick as fuck, guy.